Hello, Malik Currington here, Family Budget Fisherman. Thank you for tuning in to this another interesting episode. Well, part of this episode is going to be a tinge of gripe, but then I'm going to present some solutions. As you know by now, reading the thumbnail in the description below, we're going to be talking about the high price of hooks. And here's the question: why in the world are hooks so expensive these days? Let's talk about it. Why is it that hooks are so expensive these days? You know, we spend a lot of money on a lot of different things: rods, reels, safety equipment, boats, um, other accessories that aren't necessarily needed but wanted. But when we get down to the basic stuff, the fishing line and the fishing hook, those tend to be, relative to their usage, the more value end of the items we purchase. Even if you buy an expensive cigar line or something even more expensive than cigar, based upon the amount of usage that we get from cigar, it's still on the value end of what we purchase. Now, compare that to the fishing hook. Now, the fishing hook, of course, it should be value, but they're getting more and more and more expensive. Now, I have not talked to any manufacturers who are willing to say exactly why they, as individual manufacturers, continually raise the price of hooks. But I have, in a roundabout sense, gotten some information. And here's what I'd like to share with you. Number one, today's fish hook is sold as a lure rather than just terminal tackle. Now, I know for a lot of the hooks, they're listed in the terminal tackle, but take a look at the jig hooks. If you were to go to Tackle Warehouse or Dick's Sporting Goods, Bass Pro Shops, or Sportsman's Warehouse or Academy or Shields, and you were to type in, or Omni Fishing, one of my favorite websites to shop. If you were to go to any one of those websites and you did a search for jigs, you will come up with jig hooks, whether they were VMCs, whether they were VMCs, whether they were Mustads, whether they were Gamakatsus, or whether they were Z-Mans, or whether they were Berkeley's, or whether they were Eagle Claw. All of them are going to come up in the jig area for some of their merchandise. Obviously, this worm hook may not come up in there, but there are some jigs. For example, these Eagle Claw jigs come up not in terminal tackle, they come up actually in the jig area. Now, and it took me a while to kind of wrap myself around it. Now, I want you to think about what I'm presenting here, and you share with me where you agree and or disagree. So, because they're sold now as a lure rather than sold as a piece of terminal tackle, the cost of this as an individual item is now, at one time it was between 25 and 50 cents each. They are now $1.33, $1.35, $1.50, $2, $2.50. How many of you have gone to the store and you've gone to the hook aisle and you're looking for jig hooks, and you saw some that just gave you sticker shock because that hook was between $2 and $2.50 each, meaning it was a pack of 2 for $5 or a pack of 3 for $6. Um, it gets quite expensive. Even these, I mean, it's $1.50. This is a $6 pack. There are 4 in here. It's $1.50 for these hooks. Now, I get it. Everything increases in value or increases in price. Not necessarily in value, but everything increases in price. But if the manufacturers and their retailers, their business partners in the space, want for us to continually purchase these items, continually trying to sell me Gamakatsu hooks for over $5 a pack, or over $1 a hook, is going to be a very difficult experience. So, one of the purposes again of this channel is to show you how is it that I could purchase these hooks for a better price than the full retail price, meaning I am not going to break whatever the family budget is. Again, your family budget and my family budget are different. So maybe your family budget can't afford to pay the full price, but you may not want to. My family budget cannot afford to continually purchase these at the full retail price. I'm just going to tell you that right now. However, because it's in my hand, I got a pretty good deal on it. I think I said in the last video, this particular pack I got about 35% off, and was 35% off of what was the price on this? $4.49. So whatever 35% off of $4.50 is. So it takes this from being a $1.50 lure to being something less than $1. Okay, which for me is not a bad deal. I'll pay less than $1 a hook. I think it's just kind of outrageous to pay $1.50 a hook when I don't have to. Now, so on this particular channel, now as this channel continues to grow, there are other techniques that I'll be sharing with you because I'm seeing more as the channel grows. I'm noticing that opportunities are making themselves more available to me. So here's something that I'll share with you. So for example, these Eagle Claw hooks are the same as these Bass Pro Shop jig heads. Now, when I say the same, I don't mean the exact same in terms of the hook bend and everything is exactly the same, but the manufacturer. These are made by Eagle Claw. These are Eagle Claw. So if you were to go into Bass Pro Shops and you purchase these, you can get a discount by purchasing these over purchasing these, because the private label has a different price point that they've negotiated with Eagle Claw to manufacture these for the private label, that is Bass Pro Shops, than they are if Bass Pro Shops puts this on a peg for you to shop for in one of their stores or even online. It's just a different price point. So that's where you can get a benefit. Another benefit is, for example, Z-Man wants us to buy all of the Ned rigs they could sell us. Okay? And this is, I believe, a $5 pack. This is, see, that's Kalen stuff. Yeah, this is a $5.29, no, $5.99 pack of hooks. So, and thankfully you get 5 in here, but you're still talking over $1 a hook. Well, Berkeley has a very competitive style mushroom style head jig, and this pack goes for $3.19. Both of them are sold in the same stores largely across the country. You hear me reference uh, Dick's Sporting Goods, Bass Pro Shops, and Sportsman's Warehouse because, as far as I can tell, they're the only true national chains. And soon it's just going to be Bass Pro Shops and Dick's Sporting Goods because Bass Pro Shops has already purchased Sportsman's Warehouse. They're going through the changes of ownership as we speak. So you have that, and you have other things happening. The Guggen Baits is not owned is now owned by a different company now. It's not owned by the Guggens, as it were. So you have a lot of changes that are happening in the industry. Um, I mean, even Quantum and Strike King are now owned by the same company. They also own what is it? Lose. So when Kevin Van Dam moved from Quantum to Lose, he did not necessarily move from one separate company to another. He moved from one department in a new company to a department in another new company. My point in saying all this to you is that this affords us opportunities because as this reshuffling happens, you'll see companies do more of this rather than try to produce them on their own. So there are ways around it. There are ways of getting around it. And I might be pointing this out when it comes to the bass hooks, but crappie folks, I mean, it's happening. Well, I did point out these here. It's happening across the board. I want for you to note that the companies are wanting to sell us hooks as lures. And then, of course, the specialty of these hooks. This is not a general purpose hook. This is a Ned rig hook. Okay? And Eagle Claw Trocar said, we'll even sell it to you in a pack. Okay? This pack was a $20 pack. Now, I was able to get them extremely discounted. I think they're part of the hook haul for last summer. And I'm actually going through them, but I bought a lot of them. So, having said that, just know I'm not just sitting on them. You have Berkeley Fusion hooks here. This is a swim bait hook, but it's a weightless swim bait hook. And this is a wide gap hook, but it has a grip pin at the top of it. You see that there. Matter of fact, let me take it out so you can see it better. I know with that Berkeley Fusion, you can see that screw lock in there pretty interestingly there. But on these here, you see that grip pin right there? There's a grip pin right there. Most of you have probably used this hook before, so you're familiar with that grip pin right there. And so that grip pin takes this hook from being a 50 or 75 cent hook to being a $1.50 to $2 hook. Just that plain and simple. And that's why these packs go for, close to $10 at times. So all of these hooks and what you're being sold, you're no longer being sold terminal tackle. You and we are being sold lures that are hooks. That's why they're categorized with the other lures, because these hooks are specialty hooks, and they're part of the lure system. These swim bait hooks, these football heads, designed for specific applications. That's another thing that keeps them expensive, is that they're designed for specific applications. Imagine being a hook manufacturer and you've got 15 different techniques that people are fishing, and you want to make a specific hook for that specific technique. So when you get that specialized, some hooks are going to be used a lot and you can discount them a little bit. But then there are others where they're just not going to be used a whole lot, but they're very necessary in those specialized circumstances. But those hooks are a little bit more expensive. So, and then of course, let's not forget the material, the kind of steel. I'm just going to avoid the politics altogether, but the kind of metals that are used to make hooks. Some are overseas, some are here in the United States, some are south of us, and acquiring the metals is a challenge. And then, of course, you have tungsten versus lead. That debate continues to rage. I actually even heard a discussion as to why it is that bass jigs are not made primarily with tungsten weights. And the response that I heard was being able to acquire enough tungsten in order to make that amount of hooks. So baits. So we're pretty much stuck with lead, iron, and steel to make what we have here. So all that said, I just thought that I'd throw this out to you. Tell me, what are your thoughts? How do you feel about the high price of hooks and the perception that I have that they are selling these hooks as lures rather than as terminal tackle, which is what they once were. That's just what they once were. They're now specialty lures rather than terminal tackle, even especially terminal tackle. You know? So I hope I presented the case as clearly as I think of it in my head. Again, let me know what your thoughts in the comments below. Any questions or anything that you have about this particular subject. I'm looking forward to hearing from you. Once again, thank you for watching this episode. And again, don't do anything to break your family's budget trying to purchase this equipment. But within the ethics and the law, do everything you can to get out there and get your personal best. Take care and be safe on the water.